but at the same time, one of the things that we do is we switch things up each week, whether it's by personnel or by scheme. We try not to. I mean, we know there's a lot of smart offensive coordinators in this league, and if a team gets a real good beat on what you're doing, I think you're in trouble. And this group that we're getting ready to play is probably the best in the league at dissecting a defense and understanding what they're going to get, what coverage they're going to get out of a certain front, or based on who's on the field. So I think that's something that's critical for us is to make sure that we vary things that we've done in the past. It's critical for us, I think, to be able to disguise what we're doing and to mix up what we're doing, present different coverages to him. I think he along with the Bradys and the Phillip Rivers and the Drew Brees, those quarterbacks that if you just play conventional coverages against them, rush 4 and play conventional coverages behind it, it's going to get ugly. So that's one thing that we felt that's always been our strength, that we were able to play some coverages that and do some things pressure-wise that look different than that were kind of out of the ordinary. Yeah. The one thing when we build a defense, we want to make sure that it's sound, that it's based on solid football fundamentals. That if we play good man coverage and we have good technique, everything starts that way. We won't put a defense in that we look at it and say, well, if they do this or they do this, we're hoping they don't. I mean, it still has to be sound. So there are a lot of defenses that get thrown out for that very reason. It's just that my responsibilities have increased here as far as running the meetings, setting up the majority of the game plan. But as far as the calling of the game day is as it was before, a collaboration. I mean, he and I are get on the same page with the call sheet based on certain situations. What do we like? But then during the game, he gets a lot of input from me, whether he wants it or not. But it's worked pretty well for us, and it was something that we came up here, and the feeling was, if it's not broke, that's why fix it. And it's obviously it's worked well for us up to this point.
In terms of just the team of you and DT and him, I mean, Rick, he was saying yesterday there was no, it was planned. If he gets a job or you get a job, you're all going to go together. Mm-hmm. Was that something you guys talked about in Baltimore?
Yeah, I mean, the three of us, I think, have always been tight. Pretty much from DT and I got hired almost the same day. I think we sat in the same human resources orientation meeting down in Baltimore, and we shared an office for a while. And both of us were drawn to Rex, and I think the three of us did a lot of things together. And I think and a lot of it too is that we share a lot of the same philosophy. And just have a very similar opinions. We're very much on the same page. We got into the point where he kind of, the whole mind reading thing. He makes a call, and DT and I both knew it was already coming. So it's just that familiarity that we've been together for so long, and it came natural. Worked very well for the three of us.
Do you have head coaching aspirations down the road? I know it's you're focused on this now, but I mean just. Is this a path you'd like to take? A similar path?
I mean, I've always been of the mindset: don't look for a better, don't look for a better job, do a better job. That those opportunities will find you. I've run across seen it enough in this business where I think guys go out of their way and start to think about the next one, and that's never been my mindset. I mean, I'm focused now on winning a ring, and that's been our goal here from day one. And there's no looking. There's plenty of time in the off season to look beyond that. So that's, down the road. Is it? Absolutely. But it's nothing that any thought is being given to.
And just one more thing on that. I'm sorry. I know I've been a bit. Is there any worry at all down the road that you would be overshadowed by everybody looking at this? This is Rex's defense. Do you think there's any way that I know Rex promotes you guys constantly, but publicly. But I mean, is there any worry that another team would say, well, that's Rex's deal, it's not Mike's deal?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, I mean, to me, my dad, who I worked for, coaching, and gave me some great advice, especially when I was playing quarterback for him, is don't worry about things you have no control over, and that certainly falls into that category.
Is Rex superstitious? He looks like he wears the same outfit on the sidelines every game.
That's a mild understatement. I know he still has the same grease stain on his blue hooded sweatshirt. He refuses to have it washed out until until we get beat. So he's as a lot of coaches are. It's funny. You'd be shocked that how reasonably intelligent, rational men can get superstitious about things like underwear and routine and what they eat and the route that they drive to work and all that stuff. It's a crazy business.
What's the strangest thing that he does?
You want the whole list or just or just the top 10? I think it has to do with clothes. I know the one thing he used to do is he used to wear Converse sneakers to training camp all the time, and then all of a sudden it came out that coaches had to wear Reebok, so he wasn't allowed to wear them anymore. So he would bring them out to practice and sit them next to the practice field. So I'd rank that up there as one of the stranger ones.
Has anything come about in this run here?
I would have to say right now it's that sweatshirt that's got the strategically placed stain on it. So, other than that, our weekly routine hasn't changed.
Has there been an aroma problem in meetings with him?
No, because it's a sweatshirt on top. I think he's certainly changed in everything underneath. I hope.
What it is it like a spaghetti sauce stain?
I think it might be pizza grease, but I'm not. I'm not positive.
What Mike? You talking about the blue one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you remember the first time that you met Jim Leonard and what your first impression was of him?
I thought that he was walking in the building to do people's taxes. I mean, that's what he looks like. I mean, when you first see him, and it was the same we had a situation with Kelly Gregg in Baltimore as well. The guy just doesn't look the part. But I think that was the strength. That was one of the cornerstones down there. Is we didn't care what guys looked like. Is could they play, and we had already seen film of Jim, and so we certainly knew what he brought on the field. So while his appearance at first was a little surprising, it was a situation where we knew what we had coming in, and the great thing is he stepped right into one of our mini camps, and he was actually on I think it was a couple-day contract. Like he had signed a waiver to come in and work out. He wasn't even signed at that point, and he came in and was by far one of the best players in our camp. And we were asked afterwards, hey, because we were just down safeties, we needed bodies in Baltimore to get through a mini camp, and we were asked the question afterwards, so we're just going to let him go now? We're like, are you crazy? If we had a game, he'd start tomorrow. So, and I'm not sure how the circumstances played out and why they didn't want him to come back, but it's clearly their loss and our gain here.
And you and Rex immediately say, we identified we're bringing in Bart, and Jim has to be the guy that we need here.
Those were the first two names that came to mind. I know there was a debate initially between Ray, about Ray over Bart. Ray probably better for the short term, but for the long term, Bart. And it ultimately came down to that. And then knowing that Jim was available and to have that such a position of need on our defense, basically the quarterback of our defense, was a huge signing for us. So when we signed both, when we signed those two along with Marcus Douglas, because he really helps run that defensive line room, we knew that we were going to be ahead of the learning curve because we had a guy who knew our system in every room, every level of the defense.
Coach, when Ellis got the injury last week, I know DeVito kind of had a bigger role, and just wondering if you think he'll have that kind of bigger role this week, and also kind of, he seems like pretty versatile. You kind of plug him in the middle and also now in the end. So what kind of player? No,
Mike's played well for us, and he's a guy that doesn't say boo and just goes about. He wants to be coach hard, and he wants to get better every day. He's constantly asking the right questions, and he's very hard on himself. I mean, you got to build Mike up. I mean, he can get down pretty easy if he makes a mistake, and he takes it very seriously. And he's a guy. He's really willed himself to be a better football player. I mean, here was a guy that was a street free agent that now is I think one of our better defensive linemen on a team that's in the AFC Championship game. I mean, and he's not just out there because we need 11. I mean, he's out there and he does his job and he does it well.
Do you think he'll have slightly bigger role this week at all? I don't know.
Well, it depends. I mean, we got to see how it goes with Sean. I certainly don't. We've always rotated those guys anyway. It's hard with Sean. I think with the lacking the ability to be able to grip. So I think we're going to have to limit his reps some, but between Mike and Sione and Marcus and I think we'll be fine as far as eating those reps up.